We're of course joined today by Travis, the founder, as well as Dan, the co-founder from Vela as well. How's everything going?
It's going as well as can be in the last 48 hours, I suppose. I'm sure everyone who's listening in, felt the shock of the last couple of days. But in terms of our team, we're building, heads down, cranking on our alpha, and so far the response has been great. So far so good.
Yeah, I've been telling the guys like, do not look at crypto Twitter. Like, it's just going to
Awesome.
destroy you
We
from the
love to
inside.
hear it. Um, by the way, if there are any like connection issues at all throughout the space, let me know. I think I had some last time. I can't tell if Dan is saying anything because he's not muted, but you can always
Yeah,
just
can
stop
you
me
hear
just in
me?
case.
Yeah, Dan, I hear you okay. I think there's a little bit of the lag from the Arbitrum side, but I hear you fine.
Gotcha. Yeah, I feel like there's like a little bit of lag,
Okay,
but it's
just in
okay.
case, we'll roll with it. If Dan, I can't hear you at some point, I'll just let you know, and we'll handle it. We'll handle it from there. But just kind of, honestly, just jumping into it, I would love if you guys could give just a background uh, on what Vela is, and frankly, what brought you to founding it.
Sure. Let me take that first, and then Dan can hop in. So, Vela is a perpetuals leverage trading exchange that's going to be launching on Arbitrum very soon. We're super excited to be working with you guys. I remember I've been in DeFi for years, right? And even if you look back a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, right, doing the types of things that we're doing was not necessarily possible in a decentralized fashion, right? Gas was too expensive, chains were slow, et cetera. But with Arbitrum, being so fast, so cheap, we looked at that and said, okay, it's possible to create a CEX like experience on a DEX, and so I can hop in a little bit to sort of how we started building Vela. So Dan and I met at BCG. We were working together on Web 2 projects, and I've like I said, I've got a deep industry experience in crypto, and so I've always kind of been trading on the side. I've had previous startups in crypto. My last one was a tracker called Cryptonaut that was acquired by Portal in 2019. And so as after that was acquired, I went to work for BCG where I met Dan. And with the boom of 2020 coming around, I started to think about leaving and starting something. And that's where I tapped Dan to say, hey, like let's go off and do our own thing and build something great in DeFi. Um, just a little bit of background, we started with an OTC app that was called Dex Pools, and the reasoning behind that was I was participating in a lot of ICOs, and most of them were illiquid. And so I saw a need for like peer-to-peer trading and the ability to liquidate some of your tokens early. And on a lot of dexes, the liquidity was limited, right? Um, but I'd say probably in June of this year, when the market started to downturn, we decided to pivot and launch perpetuals. But before I get into that, Dan, you want to just sorry,
Yeah,
can you guys
can
hear
you?
me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I didn't hear your question though. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh no, I was going to say before I sort of jump into what is Vela, if you wanted to intro yourself.
Yeah, no, Travis, you gave some of the background on how we met. And I feel very fortunate to have met Travis because I've been trading since like 2017, but had never thought to like start a DeFi project or Web3 project until he started like telling me all about his experience while we're at BCG. And I was on the product side. So like I always like building cool shit and especially like new new industries where the challenges haven't necessarily been solved yet. So when we started POCing a bunch of stuff in the background while working at BCG, and then the idea of an OTC app, like Travis mentioned, was very compelling to me because I dealt with the same illiquid token issue that he was mentioning, and I know a lot of people in our circle that were dealing with it. So we decided to create our first app, launched an MVP around it in April, and then quickly pivoted to perpetuals, just given our observations of the market for like the last 6 months. We did notice that L2 kind of launches had improved infrastructure and speed quite a bit. We did notice some competitors in the space who have done awesome, and congrats to them. We're doing some amazing things, and we're like, okay, it's definitely something we could execute on, and something that's market neutral. Everybody likes to degen into perpetuals, so started building out the initial infrastructure around that early May June timeframe, and then have built it all the way up into what is now running alpha. Super excited to have a lot of our closest friends, partners, investors kind of in the alpha app right now giving us feedback, and we've already created some immense enhancements around it. So really looking forward to kind of sharing more around the public beta that's going to be coming out in the next few weeks. But that's kind of where we are at right now.
And go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was just gonna just to add to that. I wasn't sure if you had another question coming. We with the recent events, right? Like the last 48 hours, I think one of the big things that Dan and I have talked about when launching products is, we're very very bullish or insist on self custody, right? And I think the last 6 months with not just FTX but Celsius and others, right, demonstrates I think the future is a future where you can trade and do all the sort of advanced techniques that you like, perhaps on a CEX, but while holding custody of your funds and seeing that everything is happening on chain in a transparent way. And so that's one of the big ideas behind why we're launching Vela on Arbitrum.
Yeah, no, definitely aligned with you on that one. Obviously, by the way, I appreciate the color you gave on on your background and kind of what brought you guys to building here. Um, I'd love to know, and I'm sure the audience would like to know as well, maybe kind of the differences that you guys plan on bringing with Vela in terms of like how it'll differentiate itself in a chain that has just multiple different types of perpetuals or swapping protocols.
Sure, sure. So to start off, right, I still think the field is wide open. I mean, if you look at just the history of CEXs in the space for the last decade, right? I mean, there are literally thousands, whereas in 2015, 2016, there were hundreds, right? And so there are a few competitors in the space, but I sometimes push back on the thought that like, oh, the market is cornered or it's already got too much competition. I think we are still incredibly early in the game. Arbitrum is a great example, right? You guys are fairly new, and you've done incredible over the past year getting TVL and activity to the chain. And I think we're just going to see things continue to grow. In terms of differentiators, right? Some off the top of my head, we want to offer not only some of the assets you see that are tradable today, but additional assets that you might not currently be able to trade on Perpetual's platforms. So that might be Forex, that might be other crypto tokens, things like that. And in addition to that, we also are looking at more advanced trading types, such as trailing stop losses and things like that, things you don't currently see on the perps platforms you guys might be familiar with.
Yeah, just to give some color commentary on Travis's differentiators, trading management, I
No,
think
I mean
one of the
honestly,
huge
and it's
opportunities.
funny because obviously I led into that question with mentioning our different types of perps that live in our regions today, but I totally agree with you 100% on that. It's honestly insane the amount of the amount of like extra color, the amount of like different things you can do. When you have your own novel mechanism when it comes to creating some of these protocols, yeah, and I get very excited to see like as you mentioned, some of the new features Bell is going to bring.
100%. And real quick, Dan, go ahead. I'm not sure if on the Arbitrum side you guys can hear, but Dan, go ahead and say what you were saying. I heard you clear.
Yeah, I'm gonna test real quick. Can you hear me? Is that Hunter on the host side?
I don't believe he can, though I can hear you clearly.
Okay. I'm wondering if the
Yeah, I
audience
think
can
there's like a
hear.
disconnection between Dan and I.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
do you mind
reconnect
if
actually.
I
Let me come.
quick?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna come on my
Dan's
host
gonna
side.
reconnect real quick, but we can keep going. Yeah, Dan's gonna give it a shot reconnecting.
Go for it. Yeah, it's definitely this Bahamian Wi-Fi is definitely not doing us justice right now. Let me
No worries, no worries.
um, let's see. And that isn't a play, by the way, on what recently happened. Like I'm literally in the Bahamas right now because we have a team offsite happening soon. Just so everyone knows that.
Nice,
um, but yeah,
nice. Well, let me expand a little bit upon, the assets that I was talking about, right? Like one of the interesting things we've been looking at that was actually community generated was, for example, the ability to go long or short on the market cap of USDC or USDT, right? So if you wanted to bet on the stable wars and say, I think USDC is going to win, or I think USDT is going to win, you could go long or short on those market caps. And so that's something we're looking at to potentially launch as an alternative asset that users may not have been able to trade in the past. And what we've done is created a custom price feed, our own sort of outside Chainlink. We use Chainlink for all the main assets, right? But then we'll be pulling that data straight from CoinGecko. And we've been talking to CoinGecko about a close partnership or potential marketing opportunities around that. But we're using their API, their data, and then publishing our own price feeds of custom assets. And I think we're going to start with some of those unique ideas, for example, the stable market caps, but then we can expand that to other assets users haven't seen before.
that's great. Yeah, and I think it's like it's very interesting, by the way, that you're. I guess and this is me speaking from I guess a community manager perspective, and more so like a big user in DeFi myself. That like a lot of these products are able to be made both obviously in house, but also like utilizing different partners. Chainlink being like the most obvious one for like price feeds, but even like beyond that, like like making pools, for example, even with like custom ecosystem partners with their own tokens or something. I'm sure that's stuff maybe you guys happen to be exploring maybe. I don't want to dig for too much alpha, by the way.
So we were talking about staking USDC and USDT. And we made the choice to have collateral only in stables. Number one, because it's less risk, right, in our view. And number two, you can share liquidity across different assets, right? So you'll see on some of our competitors, there might be only 100K or 500K in liquidity to trade one asset, and then you've got 4 million or 5 million of another asset, right? And we said, okay, let's make it easy and let's share vault liquidity across assets, and that'll make it easier to trade. Now, that does mean that we have to go out and get that liquidity, right? And make sure that we've got ample liquidity for people to trade. So the next thing I was going to touch on is what we're calling hyper staking. And we'll be sending more info out about this in the coming days. But what we're going to be doing is giving away a large share of the network and of Vela tokens to early stable stakers in the platform. So, for example, for our mainnet launch, if you stake USDC or USDT in the platform for launch and leave it staked, you will be rewarded an extra amount of Vela tokens for as long as you leave that initial stake active. So we're super excited about that, and there's going to be more info coming out about hyper staking in the near future.
And I apologize if you went over it earlier, but did you give detail on like what role the Vela token plays within the ecosystem, or is it really just
Yeah, no, I did, but
yeah?
let me go ahead and do it again because I see a bunch of people joining, etc. So the Vela token is going to play a key role in your trading fees and your rewards. So for traders, if you acquire and stake the Vela token, over time it will reduce your fees depending on the amount of the token that you have staked and the duration. So if you're an active trader daily, right, it can drastically lower the fees that you pay on the exchange. And then secondly, for liquidity providers, if you stake the Vela token, it's going to boost the fees that you get back from the exchange, right? So staking liquidity in the exchange gives you a portion of the fees, but then staking Vela additionally will boost those fees and you'll get more of the fees generated by the exchange. And just a note, because I'm sure that we have a lot of our OGs and supporters from Dex Pools on the call. If you own the DXP token right now, it will be exchangeable one for one for the Vela token. So no worries there. If you have DXP on Ethereum or on Metis, you'll be able to essentially bridge that and swap it for Vela one for one.
And I definitely should have maybe asked a little earlier in the space, but like roughly like how big is the current team at Bella? Is it just you and Dan? Is that possible? Or
Man, no way. There's not enough hours in the day. No, we have, gosh, roughly somewhere between 12 and 14 people all together, and that constitutes our development team as well as marketing, biz, dev, etc. And then we also have moderators and other sort of contractors, designers that participate as well. So still a small team, but growing and excited about our launch.
something definitely tells me that you guys totally align with the whole idea of quality over quantity. Like the team itself doesn't need to be a ton of people; it just needs to be the right people.
Yeah, and that's one of the other questions that I was gonna get to on the list was some of the challenges we faced, and in crypto, not only does the space move a million miles per hour, but it's very, very competitive, right? And just speaking for myself, because I've probably interviewed hundreds of developers at this point, right? But a lot of times you'll get, guys with Solidity on their resume that all they know how to do is, copy and paste from Open Zeppelin or publish an ERC20 token, and they're like, I'm a Solidity master, right? And so we're very, very careful about who we bring in and who we work with. But in this space, it's hyper competitive. The cool part is we've got a very well-oiled machine, organized team, and a positive community. And so we also get a lot of outreach from people that are like, hey, how can I help? Where can I participate? And so that's been really cool.
Yeah, to add on, Trev, it was kind of crazy interviewing so many developers and like hearing from you, developers with like amazing resumes, and then you would like ask them for a GitHub, and there'd be like some forward contract of some like NFT minting contract. I'm like,
Yeah.
we're just like, damn it, like another one. But the team that we have now is amazing. Like the developers that we've managed to pick are some of the best that we've seen. Obviously, I have a lot of respect for Travis and his background, and obviously he convinced me to jump off the consulting world with him. So have a lot of faith in the technical side, and then on the partnership and like product side, we have some amazing people as well. So it's taken us a while to build this team, and obviously we've grown and shrunk based on like team members found and like failing fast if someone's not the right fit culturally or not. But like we've pulled some of the guys that have partnered with us all the way to community members and a variety of other people that have pretty extensive experience inside the space. So Travis shared a thread a little bit about our background, our team's background. We're going to share more. We also have like a board of advisors that is very strong, and I think that is one of the questions that you had as well around that. So happy to answer a little bit about that as well, Hunter. But don't want to preempt your hosting.
I've learned to be very malleable with how I ask questions here. I can't tell. I can't tell. I don't remember if malleable is like the thing where it's like too hard to move, or it's like very flexible. I'm flexible is the point. Um, I would love to hear though, because I feel like it goes hand in hand. Obviously, when you're building out projects, it's not only obviously the core team that contributes to the success of it, but it's also everything else. So that includes the community, that includes backers, advisors, etc. I guess on that front, I'd love to hear maybe, and I'm sure people in the crowd would like to hear more about who's backing Vela, maybe any advisors you guys have, and anything similar to that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so on our advisory board, we looked to build a core council that is essentially taking experts from all the different angles in crypto that you kind of need, right? So everything from security. So we have Don Ho from QuantStamp on our advisory board, who's a very, very leading thought leader in the space around security and auditing. all the way to strategic minds like Donish, who leads the trading side and Bitcoin.com exchange, and a variety of other folks that are trading experts and design product experts. So really try to balance it out. These people are very, very important to us, and we have like bi-weekly meetings with them if we can get their time. Obviously, they're very busy, but we're very glad to have people that match us on a culture front. Like these people are super helpful. They're nice people. They're not going to just like join a project just to get what they can out of it and leave. I think they believe in our vision a lot, and we try to treat them with the same kind of respect, right? Like obviously, we're not messaging them all the time, asking them every single question in the world, but we try to find the questions that their background can kind of answer. So super excited about it. We're gonna have more of their info on our website soon, but you can find some of the advisory board members on the Dexpool site. As far as partners and backers, we have a lot of early kind of partners and investors that we'd like to call out. So one of our favorites so far has been Orange DAO, who is the unofficial, but also kind of like the undercurrent official YC founders DAO that has invested in us and also given us a ton in terms of product feedback and strategy feedback in terms of how we approach the market. They're continuing to grow. I think they're close to the near team and a bunch of other teams that are building quite a ecosystem in the space as well. So I've seen them grow from a small DAO all the way to now. I think they have over 1,500 YC Combinator founders within the DAOs at this point that invest and provide feedback to teams and serve in a variety of roles. So it's been amazing. We also have a few Web3 native VC firms. I'm almost afraid to bring them up just because of the black eye VCs have gotten with the last few days. But Magnus and Big Brain being two of them that have been incredible to us. And we have other partners and investors involved that will be publicly announced.
Great, yeah, and yeah, I mean, obviously, like there are always going to be kind of outliers, I think, in any industry, right? But at the end of the day, it's like the majority of us are here to build, like for the future, frankly. And it's I think I think we can all agree that for the most part, if we could all get into stuff relatively early, and obviously back the correct teams, we all would, right? Just
Yeah.
saying, yeah, just saying. Shout out to the VCs. But yeah, I would love to maybe pivot a little bit to maybe what's coming. I'm going to start off with just asking: is there any alpha you have on any future plans? And you don't got to get and you don't have to get into any detail if you don't want to, but we can get alpha here. We love to get it.
Yeah, I think one of the rumors going around is an airdrop of some kind for participation in the beta. And we haven't confirmed anything, but we're obviously going to take care of people that go through our platform, test it, and help us harden the product. On the other side, in terms of the NFT that participants can mint for this AMA, that is just one of many components that will eventually build into something more significant that will have utility within our ecosystem. Um, in terms of launch, I think a lot of people are asking about that. We are looking to launch this year, but we're being very careful just due to market conditions and kind of observing the macro economy. So we will be announcing more concrete news around that time frame in the next few weeks, hopefully closer to the beta time. Um, so those are three things that I can leak. There are a lot of additional pieces of information that we can leak as time goes on, but I want to keep the people interested in following us to get that news.
Hey, no, totally good. I mean, honestly, it's a lot more than I thought I'd get. So thank you.
Yeah, sometimes people are just like, "There's an airdrop coming at some time."
Yeah, I was gonna let Dan take that question before the call. He's like, "We don't want to give away all the stuff we're building." I'm like, "I got you. I got you."
Yeah, no, I'm sure people are reeling after you said that. That's great. I mean, and I guess apart from that, maybe if you could, maybe list a couple of exciting things you guys have in your roadmap. Maybe I don't know, just give like a brief summary on what those will bring. I guess just generally kind of giving people an idea of like what like first like what they can expect from Vela in the next couple months, frankly.
Yeah, sure. And the current market conditions, right? I see them as an opportunity. Like I said at the beginning of the call or the first AMA, right? I think we're moving to a world where trading is going to be decentralized, and we think we're going to be a big part of that. And so, everything that's happened, I think, will just accelerate that. And in terms of some of the things down the line, I think you can expect additional, trading features, fiat on ramp and off ramps. We're starting with Transact, right? But we could introduce other partners as well. The goal being that, we're not just depending on the people that are already in Arbitrum, but helping grow the ecosystem and bring additional people into the ecosystem and making it as easy as possible to get TVL onto Arbitrum through, your bank account or a credit card or things like that, right? And so we're always thinking about how can we, grow the exchange, but then also grow the ecosystem as well. And so I think you'll see a lot of cool features around that.
Yeah, I think, and this may not be us tackling every problem because that's always bad for a product team to try that. But I think what's happened in the last few days and even the last months, right, with a ton of controversy around centralized entities, is it's going to drive a lot more innovation to help replace and improve the things that are super centralized. And a lot of discussions we have with like the big traders and even the retail traders that are in our community is around like why centralized exchanges? Like, why do we continue using them? Why do we keep funds on them? And it keeps coming back to like two or three major points. Number one, um, it's very hard to on or off ramp significant amounts of money without a centralized entity. And a lot of people just forget, right? They onboard and they're like, oh, like I'll keep it in there for a bit. And then the next thing you know, no longer have any control of those assets. Number two is the user experience. A lot of traders that don't even navigate to DeFi stay on CEXs because it's super easy to use and it's very familiar to them. It's like the UI and UX is similar to like a trading platform like Robinhood or any of these apps that are out there for like Web2 platforms. So we have a lot of focus on like usability, making the app like super easy to use, but also implementing like powerful features like trading management that you typically get a lot more of in centralized exchanges. Like our bigger traders tell us, hey, we still do like 90% of our perps trading within centralized exchanges just because I can do things and manage my trades and automate them in ways I can't do on decentralized exchanges. I think number one, we're going to see way better infrastructure that's being built, and Arbitrum's a big part of that to help you manage trades on chain. There may be some centralization of like certain aspects, which is not a bad thing, but having control of your assets is the most important, right? Number two, we can do things on our side, whether it's the user experience or just thinking ahead of the curve and like working with the audience at hand and like community to understand like what kind of trading management, what kind of trading features make the most sense for us to put our effort into. We're not a big team. We've got to put our eggs in the right basket and really focus. So we're continuing to work super closely with the existing community and look forward to continue to work with more and more community members as they onboard into our social channels. Like they've been immense in terms of feedback so far, and just seeing the core audience we have now, like it's been amazing.
That's great to hear. And honestly, I mean, even just to throw kind of my hat in the ring here, I think at least the way we kind of think about, at Off Chain Labs building Arbitrum, the way we think about kind of, like projects launching and our ecosystem growing, I truly, I really believe like our marketing comes from like the teams building on Arbitrum. So for me, or for us, really, when we have obviously Vela launching on Arbitrum, you're on the same A with us and all the all this great stuff. To me, it's like what's the best way we can bring value to the teams that are launching? Because obviously, running a business isn't easy, and frankly, running a project or again business related to crypto in whatever way isn't any easier. That's for sure. So I almost it's funny because I feel like as a chain. The most important thing is obviously to be the best infrastructure you can be for a team building on top of it, but also just to be the best infrastructure in just not even in terms of like a tech wise, but also just like a support level, right? Both marketing, so again, tech wise or anything else. So point being that our ecosystem is as big as it is, frankly, because of the teams that are building on top of it. As obvious as that sounds, I really do attribute all the great success that we're seeing in Arbitrum because of great teams like you guys building on top of it.
Yeah, and hats off to you guys, really. I mean, I've built dozens of dApps and published dApps to multiple chains, and I can attest to a chain. A chain is like I would compare it in the Web 2 world. It's like an app store. It's a network, right? And so you're going to subscribe to Netflix because that's where your favorite shows are, right? And certain chains have no TVL and no dApps because people are not building there, right? And you guys have been amazing in terms of being available to us, co-marketing, outreach, tech support, right? And I think that's what chains have to do to win, right? Ultimately, users are going to go where obviously the chain has the technical infrastructure to support, but where all the good dApps are. So like I said, I've interacted with many chains, and so far you guys have been the top.
Travis, I hope you know that we can go back and forth complimenting each other this entire time. And I'll do it too.
No worries.
Travis is just doing it for the Arbitrum airdrop, I think.
That's right. That's right.
Oh my god. You're supposed to leave that question for one of the people in the audience to come up, and then I have to kick them out afterwards. Anyway, that's great. I think then, but before we get into any details about any beta period that you guys may have, just real quick, whether it's from a philosophical level or just a general level, where do you guys see Vela in a year from now? And I guess you can take market conditions into play if you want. But yeah, what do you think?
Man, so one of our visions continuously is to be like a place where newer traders can kind of enter into DeFi, but veterans and like hardened like quant based traders can sit and do their thing. We'd love to create a home like that. It's a big vision. And it takes on a lot of different angles in terms of what we can create. But my focus right now with the team is, hey, let's build the best experience possible for an Arbitrum-based perpetual trading platform. We're going to start layering on functionality that will build towards that vision, but we've also got to keep our infrastructure flexible enough to pivot as we see changes, because there's literally a change every couple of months in terms of what do people want, what makes most sense for the current economy. Like there's all sorts of things. So it's a blend of like flexibility and then being able to drive towards that vision. I know it's a bit of a non like answer in a way, but everybody knows in this space, if somebody can predict something a year out, um, they're most likely not telling you the truth. And it's I'd be surprised if anybody can predict what the landscape looks like in 2023 and 2024.
That was great, by the way. No, and I totally agree with you there. Yeah, if you had anything concrete to say, I would have just called you out on there right away. Okay, but you're right, though. I totally agree. I think in that case, then, I mentioned earlier, maybe maybe if there's a way for people to get involved somehow with Vela before like an actual mainnet launch. Is there some sort of beta you guys have going on, or sometime soon, or something like that down the pipeline?
Yeah, the beta is coming up very soon. So we're prepping like the final infrastructure to support the beta and the scale of users we're expecting. You can sign up via email to get the latest notifications on our beta and anything else related to our project. Um, Time frame I think is going to be in 2 to 3 weeks, but we'll see. We're still in alpha right now, so we're getting tons of feedback, and we definitely want to make sure the experience is as clean as possible for the beta testers. Um, yeah, so sign up on email, join our Discord, Telegram. We'll have news very soon. I would like to, if there's not no more questions, to open up the floor too, since we only have like a couple of like five minutes until our scheduled end. Maybe we can push past if you guys have time, Hunter.
Yeah, no,
I'd
I
love to
got
hear
time to
from the
push past.
community.
Yeah, sorry, Dan. I think I might have interrupted you there. Yeah, no, totally happy to push past if we need to. But yeah, feel free to raise your hand, Dan, or I will bring you up here. And you have access to see people with raised hands. Am I right?
I think so, but I also think that like Twitter is not showing us the same people raising their hand. But like Travis could see me before and then you couldn't, and it gets weird. So I see Uncle.
Okay, I think Uncle's coming up. Let's see. Let's try to keep it Vela related, by the way. I know sometimes people have questions for us too, but preferably let's keep it Vela related. Uncle, you're up.
You're muted, by the way.
He's got some very nice sneakers in his bio there. Uh,
We'll
yeah,
bring up like Sheik too. Like he's been
let's see. Let's take a look. Whoever
or
talks first.
Shike. Yeah, we'll just let him connect and see who unmutes first.
Classic Twitter Spaces roulette.
I know. Oh,
All right, you're up.
he's enabled. Who's gonna speak first?
Oh man, you really.
Can you hear me?
Let's see. All right, you're up. What's going on?
Okay, my question is this: like, so when I change, so it's kind of it's safe for everyone to use, or it's kind of like a centralized exchange.
I
Sorry,
think
I
I
didn't
heard some
quite.
of that.
Yeah,
I
go
think it
ahead,
was
Dan. I
about
didn't get
like
most of it.
I think it was about app safety. We are doing what we can, right? We're going through an audit by hacking. We have a plan to continue audits with various audit groups if necessary to keep our development cycle moving and keep people safe. So we are doing what we can. That being said, with any app, always be wary, right? Don't put in more than you can lose to start with. Try the app out, try the beta, and yeah, do your due
Yeah,
diligence.
yeah, and just if I think I got the source of the question there, you know, we're big proponents of self custody, as we've mentioned before. We don't touch customer funds in any way, so everything is smart contract driven. You'll be able to deposit, to withdraw, to stake, to unstake, and so on. And when you fiat on board as well, we'll be using third party partners who process those payments and then deposit tokens into the exchange. So we will never be able to, unstake your funds for you or go stake them somewhere else or do some crazy shit that would create problems, right? We're big proponents of that. You guys control your money.
Okay, thank you. I have a question I want to ask.
Shoot.
Okay, how will we get the NFT dropped after the AMA?
Yeah, so you can go, there's a link on our latest Twitter post on the Vela Exchange official account. It should go like to a galaxy.com splash page and it'll give you like the different credentials that you have to fulfill. Um, I believe you should be able to do that now. So you can check out that landing page that the link is provided on via Twitter and be able to claim. I already see like I think more than 800 people claiming it. So
I'm about to go get it myself. I just pinned it, by the way.
Oh,
awesome.
I can't see. Oh, I can't see it. But let me check out.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions?
No, thank you.
Sounds good.
Nice. Do you want to bring up someone else? Yeah, I want to be cognizant of time as well, actually. But do you guys have? Do you think bring up one or two more people, or you
Yeah,
want to cut it off here?
Yeah, let's do it.
let's do like a couple more questions. Tiger, you're
Nice.
up.
Love it.
Bring on Benji as well. And then I see you, Naveed. We'll bring you up as well. Benji, if you can unmute, you're up here now.
All right. Yeah, Tiger, Benji, Naveed. I guess whoever goes first.
Hey, sir, can you hear me?
Yep,
We
you're
can.
good.
My question is that this bear market was net bearing for many projects. Just 20 to 25% projects have survived in their bear market. What is Value Exchange going to do in coming days or in upcoming coin markets?
Got it. Got it. I think I understood there. Yeah, I mean the bear market is a mess, right? But as I've told the team, right, internally, right, we just have to keep our heads down, keep building, keep improving the product. We can't control when other big projects or big companies make mistakes, right? And having been in the space for so long, the people and the companies that succeed, it's like anything, right? It's determination, grit, and just not quitting, right? So we're going to continue to work in the bear, and we think if we can be successful and launch and get traction in the bear, then the sky's the limit in a bull market, of course, right? And so what we try to do is just say, okay, we're going to not completely, but to a certain extent, say, okay, we'll let the market do what it's doing. We're going to focus on building the best product possible. And that will position us, regardless of if there's a bear or a bull, to be successful.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks, Naveed. Benji, Tiger, you guys ready?
Yeah, I tried. Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
I've tried claiming the Ode or Galaxy, but it's not possible since we are actually attending part two right now. This is one of the things, and apart from that, one thing I wanted to ask about what CZ had tweeted recently in regards with the FTT token, which was which was strategized in a way which he has criticized, where he says uh, such tokens when they are used as collaterals, and so there is risk involved. If the native token is used in a certain way, there's a risk involved. I would want to share those tweets with you on this message.
Yeah, no,
If
I'm
you
I'm familiar with the tweet. And we will never use Vela, the token, as collateral in any way, right? So the Vela token has utility with the exchange to both boost your fees from the exchange if you're a liquidity provider, or reduce your trading fees if you're a trader. But all of the tokens in our vault will be stable coins, right? So we're starting with USDC and USDT only, and the Vela token has no relation in terms of collateral or anything like that. So what CZ was saying about what FTX apparently did, and I have no knowledge of what they did, that really wouldn't apply to the Vela token.
Okay, I brought in two last people, so
thanks a lot. I'm sorry to cut apart. The first one was also about the Galaxy Ode, which is not claimable since this is a part two.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
so,
should.
yeah.
Yeah,
I would just say drop into our social channels, and if and we can help you out there. That's fine.
yeah, especially Discord.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And then I added Simon and one more OX vectors. These will be our last questions. I know there's a few other people that have requested, but we are running overtime at this point. Whoever wants to go first.
So, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you provide more information about vesting, the token allocation of Vela, and like the just provide a more like general overview of that?
You're saying vesting of the token, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so our tokenomics breaks it out pretty well. There is an allocation for previous DXP holders and investors that's broken out within the tokenomics, and then there's going to be kind of allocation and emission schedules for the rest of the buckets. So if you're asking about that point, like the white paper describes it pretty well, and you can check it out on Vela.exchange. The other question that you might be asking is probably around like vesting for the eVela token. We do have information on our white paper about that as well, but you have a choice when you earn eVela. This is similar to GMX in a lot of mechanics, in that you can choose to either stake it as a Vela token, or you can go ahead and vest it to receive actual Vela token over time. So you have some optionality there, and I think the genius behind what GMX made people do there is kind of gamify which choice you want. Do you want immediate returns, or do you want like long-term value? If you look at the other piece of our tokenomics, though, there's pieces that are quite different from what's out there. Especially if you look at the buyback schedules that we plan around part of like basically every Vela or eVela token comes with a buyback from the market. There's a schedule for that. I definitely press the audience here to go check that out as well. It'll have a lot of impact on the economy, and it introduces a pretty good it's not necessarily deflationary, but definitely an economic control in a lot of ways.
I see. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And Simon?
Simon, you got this. Last question. The most important.
All right. Well, if
Yeah.
Simon or app using Jesus does not jump on in a second, then we are going to end it here. So appreciate it, Hunter, for hosting. I know we had some early technical difficulties, but we marched through that just like a good partner and team will do. And we made it out the other side. We broke Twitter. I actually created a tweet at Elon Musk. Maybe he'll see it. I'm like, dude, fix this shit. You guys bought this. Like, make it better, please.
No, okay, no. I definitely have to thank you guys for your patience, especially you, Travis. You really kind of powered through like halfway of the first one without anyone else on here. But before I do let you go, really quick, I just had to make sure you guys plug yourself at the very least. For those who do want to join the Vela team, or sorry, join the Vela team, join the community, contribute in any way. What's the best way for them to do that?
Discord and our Telegram both are on our official account, Vela_exchange. We'll have all the information about open roles, community roles, different contributor packages, stuff like that. So definitely join it. It's where we hang out a lot of times. I'm like super active in the communities, and Travis pops in once in a while as well. So come hang out, find out what's going on, and stay in tune with us.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks everyone. Appreciate everybody joining. We enjoyed it, and yeah, looking forward to this launch on Arbitrum. And thanks for your time.
Good one, y'all. Thanks for joining, guys.